Okay, we're going to softball the knee. Now, when I say the knee, what we're actually looking at is the VMO right here. This muscle, the way the quads work, okay, they all kind of tie in to the knee at its different points here. Now, this muscle right here on the inside of the knee tends to really get banged up. It can get really shortened, really tense. A lot of tissue damage can occur in there. I personally have literally changed my life with this one particular activity, ball in the knee. So we're getting in the inside of the knee, the interior of the knee, and we tend to want to be a little more face down. So Janelle's gonna get a little more face down, but she's got the right leg out here. I always kind of joke, it's kind of like, you know, a dog sticking their leg out here. And what we're doing is we're just grinding, and you can kind of feel the muscle almost flick, if you will, over that ball. So be gentle with that, because if you're real sensitive, you're going to feel a lot of pain here. You can really control the pressure very, very easily, though, just by the pressure you push down on your leg. And we're just going ahead and moving around, and again, flicking over that connection point right here where you feel that muscle innervating the knee. She can also just lay more flat if she wants to. Okay, like that. And maybe get a little bit more into that knee. So this one right here, a little awkward, looks a little weird, but I'll tell you what, if you have any kind of knee problems, there's a real good chance this is going to be the activity that's going to go ahead and change your life. It most certainly did for me. So that is just softballing the knee. Foam roll in the quad. Pretty much getting on top of the roller, right about underneath the hip, and we're going to walk ourselves essentially up and down the roller. I always kind of think of this one as taking a rolling pin and you're rolling out the dough. You're going right up the front of the leg. If you want to make this more simple or less aggressive, you've got the position like Janelle's doing. She's got the opposite leg just on the ground and she's just kind of crawling up and down. If she wants to make this more aggressive, she'll go ahead and put this leg on top. And now she's got both legs in the air, so all of her weight now is on that roller, pushing down the quad right into the roller. She's got a little side-to-side shimmy going on because it's a big muscle. We want to get all aspects, find out where those knots, where that tension is. Okay, I've seen people fall off the roller. Janelle almost just did there. That's okay. She's just going to work it up and down, again, rolling out the dough. Think of it like if you hit a speed bump on the way, stop and go back and forth over that speed bump and really trying to flatten it out, if you will. Great, very simple foam rolling exercise that can really make a difference in the tenderness and just kind of the suppleness, if you will, of those muscles and really loosen things up, especially before big movements like squats. If you're feeling a lot of pain when you're doing this rolling activity, last thing you want to do is go do big heavy squats or run or things of that nature because those muscles are really locked up and tight. So foam rolling prior to that really going to help make a big difference. Foam roll in the quad. Our hip flexor quad stretch. So I'm going to show you a couple different progressions here, starting with just focusing on the hip flexor. First thing we're going to do is want to get Janelle into the 90-90 position. So we want to make sure the knee is directly over the ankle. We can actually pull that ankle back a little bit. And we want to make sure the hip is right over the knee. So we've got a good 90-90 position. Now here's a great way to test to make sure you're in a proper 90-90 position. Because the 90-90 split position, what it basically represents is it's a regression of standing on one leg. So all the pressure should be down in that right leg of hers. So if she can lift her front foot, she knows she's in the right position, okay? If you have difficulty lifting that foot, you've got to adjust your position. So now we know she's good. So what we're going to do is she's going to work a good breathing pattern, 3 in, 6 out like we like to do. And as she's exhaling, she's going to squeeze this right butt cheek and she's going to drive her hip forward, stretching out that hip flexor. Now if you're real tight, just getting into this position and breathing, you're going to feel it. So work at your level, but if she wants to kind of drive her hips forward, she's going to get a little more of a stretch. Notice the posture though. She's not leaning into this. That's not the idea. If I'm leaning into it, I'm not going to stretch out this hip flexor. So she's staying nice and tall. That's perfect. Now if that feels good, and we're ready to add the quad stretch into that with the hip flexor, she'll go ahead, it requires a little bit of balance. She's going to reach, she's going to grab that foot, and she's going to try to get back into a nice tall posture, stretching out that quad, okay? And just focusing on, again, that good, comfortable breathing pattern. You can even start to visualize breathing into the hip, and when you exhale, really getting a nice deep stretch. If you're looking for more of a stretch than that, you can do this off of something like a low ballet bar or a bed, like almost like a Bulgarian split squat. Or I'm going to go ahead and show you another version. It's a little awkward to get into. if you had a pad, it would be much nicer. I've got the mat here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right knee and I'm going to put it right down here by the corner of the wall. Okay, and then I'm not quite stretched out just yet, so I'm not going to go all the way back. And then I can just, from this position here, lean back. Now, if I want to get a little bit more, I can bring this foot here, and I'm going to get nice and tall. There we go. So I'm not quite there yet. I can feel that stretch quite a bit. The idea is to get the back all the way against the wall. After a good warm-up, I can do that. Okay, but I'm going to get a tremendous quad stretch. So if you don't feel it with the standard stretch like Janelle was showing, then you can go ahead and you can put that foot into that corner of the floor and where the floor and the wall meet, get a much more advanced stretch. On the other side, if what Janelle was doing was a little bit too much for you, you can start off with a basic standing up quad stretch right here. You can also do this lying on your side. So there's a couple of progressions and regressions. The idea is we're working a hip flexor and quad stretch. The Cook hip lift. This is an exercise named after Gray Cook, who's an absolute genius when it comes to exercise. What we're going to do here is we're basically just lying on the back. We've got the feet flat. This is kind of a classic sit-up position. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to have Janelle pull in. Let's go ahead and do the left knee. She's going to pull in that left knee. Now what she's doing is she's pulling in as much as she possibly can. In fact, sometimes I'll put a softball right here on the ribs so that we have to hold that softball. If we lose the softball, we know we're not holding enough. The reason we're doing that is by pulling that knee in, okay, we're taking the lumbar out of it, okay? And we want all this to be coming from the hamstrings and the glutes. So if she pulls in, that lumbar spine's kind of locked in place and we're not going to get any help from that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, her foot, some people like to have the toe up, okay, that's just fine. You can have toe flat, whichever's comfortable. I think I prefer kind of having the heel up. But we want to make sure, heel down, we want to make sure it's not the opposite. We don't want to be on the toe pushing through. So either flat foot or heel up. And what she's going to do is she's not lifting at the core. Let's go ahead and switch feet so we can actually see a little bit better. She's not going to be lifting at the core. Again, she's pulling this knee in to take the low back out. She's going to drive this left foot now through the floor. As a result, her glutes are going to fire, her hamstrings are going to fire, and her hips are going to come up off the floor. We're trying to get as much space under here as possible, getting that as high as you can. Just get a nice exhale on the way up and drive through, and then inhale back down, trying to create as much height as possible between your distance between the butt and the floor. Really great exercise. You get the hamstrings firing and the glutes firing, build some basic strength in the posterior or backside of the lower body. And that's the Cook hip lift.